Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
It is picked up by the Lions. Coming back right side, 25. Picks up a block at the 30. It's at the 40.
Drink it in, drink it in. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Rolls to the right. Stafford throws deep. Got a man out there. Enzo. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Marvin Jones. Stafford!
Drink it in, drink it in.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Cornbread.
Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, Detroit Koolaid drinkers, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us for the Detroit Koolaid cast here on a Wednesday, talking all things Detroit Lions. We know we're coming off a really, really rough game against Tampa Bay, but you know how we do on the show. We're going to talk about tons of other stuff. We've got a hot take. We got something you got to listen to. It's going to stir you up. It's going to get you all hot and bothered. It's going to have controversy. It's going to be entertaining. You got to stay tuned for that. We're going to go over the roster moves this year by the Detroit Lions. Tell you a little bit more about that and tell you about some names and faces you totally forgot about that were on this team months ago. And I'm going to ask Grifka, new year, new team, get his expectations, his thoughts, what's going to go on, how we can get this team around, get excited for the offseason. So got to stay tuned for all that. We got our great sponsors on the show, and we got Grifka on the show, the one and only, at GrifkaDKC on Twitter. Grifka, how are you, buddy?
Oh, man, holidays, we're in between those Christmas, New Year's ones, so I'm doing good.
Absolutely, man. So, I don't even know. I mean, I guess we're going to start with the Tampa Bay review, but, you know, to me, this game was exactly what me and you predicted last Friday on the show. Big blowout. We both had it. I mean, Lions didn't do anything offensively, you know, early in the game. I think it was the first drive, maybe the third or fourth play. You know, Matt Stafford goes to throw a screen pass. You know, I don't know. It's just one of those where he was going to run a screen. You know, the guy got on him too hot. He either tried to go sidearm or just flicked it out there and then just kind of walked backwards and sprained his ankle. So at that point, not only was the game pretty much already over, but our offensive day was over because, you know, we knew we didn't have weapons coming in. Now we don't have our quarterback. We know how backup quarterbacks go in the NFL. But Grifka, this is where the hot take comes in. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm very interested in this.
Grifka, like, I mean, throughout the time on this show, we're talking a lot about Matt Stafford. We're trying to decide if we need to draft a new rookie quarterback, you know, where he falls. We often on the show back him up and sort of praise, you know, the good things that he does and talk about why you can get some other pieces, and he's the least of their worries, all that type of stuff. Grifka, I'm shocked how many people on Twitter and online in general just have this absolute love for Matt Stafford that's unconditional. Just unbelievable. Like, guy can do no wrong, right? Which I'll go online and I'll say, like, good guy, great arm, good family man, good in the community, all that stuff, right? Everybody knows he's got all that going for him. The problem with the people that don't like the guy is that he's been here 12 seasons. He's got no playoff wins. He usually crumbles to the good teams. And, you know, then the lovers will say, well, he didn't have anything around him. Or, you know, we've been through that. Everybody knows that. But here's the hot take of the day, Grifka. The new thing the last 4 or 5 years with Matt Stafford has been, quote of the week the last few weeks, he's tough as nails. Grifka, I'm here to tell you, both for entertainment purposes here on the show, and maybe I truly believe it in my heart of hearts, is Matt Stafford really that tough? I mean, this guy gets unconditional love from the national media and from every fan that no matter what you love or hate about him, everybody will say how tough he is. Looking back at some things, I mean, he has index finger injuries. He has a sprained ankle that keeps you out. He's got, like, every time he gets hit, he gets hurt. This is pretty consistent now. He's batting about 80 to 90% of hits to injuries these days. And yeah, he gets up. Yeah, he continues to play through things. But I'm here to tell you, the guy's never had an ACL torn off. He hasn't had any major upper body or shoulders type stuff since early in his career. But he kind of babies all these little injuries. So, like, this whole tough as nails, this whole he's a warrior, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, because to me, it's starting to seem not only maybe a little injury prone, but like little things seem to bother number 9 and keep him either out of the game or reasons why he's not playing well or other things. So I know I need to turn it over to you, but that's where I'm going here early in the show, is that the unconditional love that Matt Stafford's the toughest guy on the face of the planet, the biggest badass walking, I don't know if it holds up when you really look, especially the last, 5 to 7 years, I'd say.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that out of you. That's a good hot take, actually. I mean, I see your point of view. I don't know if I agree with it, though. I think some of it is, like you said, all the people that give him the unconditional love, that you said tough as nails. What I keep seeing is that highlight from his second year, third year, the Cleveland game or whatever, where he dislocates his shoulder.
Rookie
they pop him
year,
back in.
2011, that was.
Oh, okay. So I think that's the one that everybody keeps replaying in their mind, and obviously I thought it was newer than what it actually was. So they keep saying that, oh gosh, look at that, and you see that highlight on NFL Network. I see it on Facebook. I see it on, the Lions sites that, we are attached to, that they keep running that. It's oh, look at how tough it. So, yeah. But I think at this point, you mentioned the last 4 or 5 years, it just could be a culmination of, so many years of having a bad offensive line. And I know we talk how he's got some decent guys now, here and there, but there's still some holes. But yes, he has taken some beatings some years. And but the tough as nails, I think it could be one of those things where he just kind of wants to continue to prove it, because maybe it's in his mind that that doubt is there, that kind of like yourself, you just stated, that he's not as tough as everybody says he is. So he has to kind of go out there and play with the hurt thumb and the banged up, shoulder and the hurt legs and that, just to kind of prove it's yeah, I'm still tough. I can still sling the ball. And, I'm out here, putting my body on the line for my beloved, Detroit Lions, the team that put so much faith in me. So, but to say that he's not, tough as nails, I mean, I don't know if that's tough as nails or just kind of being stupid. I really can't put my finger on it, but I am seeing your point of view. I really am. I don't know if I agree with it, but I'm seeing your point of view.
So basically, you're not quite for sure.
Not quite for sure, man.
See, here's my other point with it, is I can't get with quarterbacks being tough as nails or the toughest guy on the football field, because these guys in 2020, or since Stafford's been playing, which is, since 2009, 2010-ish, they're so protected, and when you're throwing a ball, 25 yards down the middle and a free rusher is coming and you might take one either to the upper chest or ribs, I can see how that's a tough shot to take. But what does a guy take of those? Maybe 10 a year? Maybe? Some of these sacks, okay, they'll always say, well, he's got sacked 30 times. How many of those sacks are cover-ups or grabs you by the ankle and you fall down on your own, like we've seen so many times? Or remember when Peyton Manning would just crumple up like a little baby and take a sack but never really get hit? You can't just look at these sack numbers like people do and say, oh, he's the most sacked quarterback. Well, where are these big hits coming from? And a lot of these big hits recently are Matt Stafford running and not being smart enough to throw the ball out of bounds, 2 beats early so he doesn't get hit, or not running up the middle and trying to run somebody over when your Tayshaun Prince in a football jersey are going to be hurt afterwards almost every play. I mean, the last one where he got folded up sideways, there would have been ways to prevent that, but instead he puts himself in harm's way. And I basically know every time he gets hurt, gets hit, he's either going to be hurt or he's going to get up like he's hurt, or people are going to say, oh, he's probably hurt. That's why his next 5 were incomplete. Like, I think I'm getting the reputation online for being this guy that just wants Stafford out, wants, Zach Wilson, and doesn't like him at all. That's not the case. Like, I'm not a Stafford's horrible. I'm not a run him out of town necessarily, but I'm here today on the podcast saying, like, he doesn't get hit like offensive linemen or linebackers, and those guys aren't going out all the time with little knick-knack. I mean, guys are playing with broken hands. They're playing with busted up feet. We've had people play with ACL type issues, and I'm just here to say, when Matt Stafford's got 18 braces on his index finger, or he's got a rib issue, or he tweaked his ankle and he's just out for the next 3 quarters plus, that doesn't scream warrior to me. That doesn't scream toughest guy on the planet. That seems like a guy that is a football player that's battled through some things and also hasn't had the toughest injuries, yet still he's either always dinged, or he's missing games. Remember when he hadn't missed any games? And now the last 4 years, it's like he's probably averaging 3-4 games plus a year missed if you do the math over the last 5 to 8 years, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's just missing a lot of time,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I feel like it just went too far. Just like when people support him, I always feel like they're right in certain aspects, but they just go too far with it. It's like he's a good quarterback, but the minute you say he's great, he's unbelievable, he's the only thing good with Detroit, everybody else has been wrong except this guy, I'm like, hold up now. Now you've gone too far. And so when I hear Schleierith, Stink, or all these people on the commentary just going on and on about how tough this guy is, it's like, okay, he got hit. He got up. Congratulations. Just like every other NFL player does almost every time, I don't see it as something special. The Cleveland thing was special. I'm trying to think what other injuries he's even battled through where I thought, wow, that's incredible, that he went out there. I mean, I guess this rib issue that he kind of fought through in such short a time was pretty impressive, but there's been plenty of injuries where, yeah, he plays, but to your point about him being not smart, I mean, how many times has he played with these ailments and cost us too? Because, the ball sailed on me. Oh, must have been my index finger. Oh, I couldn't run the football or couldn't make that play. Had to protect my ribs. Didn't want to get hit again. That type of stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm torn on it.
With that being said, though, does that kind of go with when people say, I mean, we've seen the Lions backups, a 75% Stafford is better than 100% insert backup name here. And then they lose. And like you said, all the excuses get, it flowed because of his thumb. He doesn't have this. He doesn't, his foot's hurt, his legs hurt, so he can't scramble like that. So at that point, it's like you lost anyways. So you went out there and took a little more of a beating, but I don't know. That's one of those hindsight's 2020 at that point. It's just like, we lost anyways. So we could have played the backup. He could have been healthy, and I don't know. But I think the guy has a definite threshold for pain. But the toughest nails, I can definitely see your point of view on it.
The other thing I want to mention that I'm just struggling with too is, I mean, like you said, does he want to go out? Do we have anybody that's better? No, but the other beef I have with Matt Stafford as our 12-plus year quarterback here is I feel like he decided years ago, I'm just going to say what the Football for Dummies textbook tells me to say. I'm going to say all these grandiose things about I don't want to go off on a cart. I'm going to practice. I need to play for my teammates. He had that great quote, 2 weeks ago, like, I'm the quarterback of the Detroit Lions. It's Sunday. I got to be out there. It's like that sounded to me like something a PR guy would write that's like perfectly, it'd get everybody fired up, which it did. But it's what you say. But then, I mean, yeah, he goes out and plays, but I feel like he does all the things that you would want someone to say or do. The people that are frustrated with him and not, taking it to the nth degree are the people that are just saying, but you still don't win. Like, your numbers, you haven't put up 4,000 yards or 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns since 2011, 2010. I mean, that was nearly, gosh almighty. Can you believe that, Grifka? When I say 2011, it's like, 10, 11, 12 years ago. I mean, he hadn't had a season anywhere close to that since then. I mean, that was like his second or third year in the game. So it's like, I guess like I just get sick of the lip service too, both from him and from other people, where it's kind of like you can say you're telling, you can say you don't want to go on a cart, you can say that you're there for your teammates, yet I keep seeing you go out of games. I keep seeing you with 18 wraps on your hand. I continue to see you say the right things and not go do the best things on the football field, which is win us ball games, overcome the shortcomings of the Detroit Lions, and take us where we wanted to go for the past decade. So I'm getting on like a secondary topic, but the main hot take, which I know people are going to send me their hate tweets, send me their reasons why this is the worst thing ever said on our podcast, and I have no clue about football. I get it. You can send all those to @GrifkaDKC on Twitter. I mean, you just hit me up. Send those.
That's fine.
No, send those to @Derek Okrie, DEREKOKRIE. Send all the wow Grifka, you're so smarts over to the Grifka DKC Twitter. But like, I just got to a point where I just wanted to throw it out there, because I think we get in these lulls of just saying these things and believing them as gospel. And when I started looking at it, I'm like, all these minor type injuries, when I see all these other players, ACL tear, tore off his bicep, broke his ankle in 3 spots. Yet these guys, not only come back, but that's a legit injury where not only you power through that, you're a warrior for having to deal with it. Like, I don't give a ton of credit when your pinky was dinged or you had a hairline fracture and you come back. I mean, it's just like, okay, good, you fought through. I mean, great. Did you produce? Did you win? Did you overcome, or were you just out there? And sometimes I feel like he's just out there with injuries, which I don't know if that does the team good, other than him to say, look, I fought through. I tried to play for my team. I don't know if it does much good other than creating this narrative that the absolute toughest quarterback you've ever seen in your entire lifetime in the game of football. I don't know that's true when you really look at it. There you go. That's what I got.
I think you talked me into it, man. I agree with you, man.
That's what I've been trying to do for 20 minutes. Get you to agree with me like you always do on a show. I know there's tons of people that won't. I mean, it's going to be a tough offseason because I don't want the impression of a Stafford hater, but I'm going to continue to bang this drum that despite his age, despite his arm talent, and despite his warrior mentality that most people throw out there, like, people just have to understand. Me and you, I think, have come to an actual agreement on the show, which is very rare, that it's time, man. It's time to get a new person in here, whether to play right away or to groom, and to start moving this thing forward, because there's just the only thing I come back to, Grifka, I know we got to keep the show moving, is it can't be 12 plus years of everybody else was completely wrong and was just a complete absolute abomination, but Matt Stafford was perfect. That can't be true.
Yeah, he's not perfect, man. So
and like you said, like, maybe the first few years we could have said that, where it's like, wow, look at this guy putting up all these numbers, that game in Cleveland, the 40 touchdowns. Maybe it is he was the lone bright spot, but when another decade goes by and we're sitting there going, man, the only real constant is him and Muehlbach, and everything else is crumbling around us. I mean, I can't let the guy off scot-free, both for his toughness or for his play on the football field. I can't do it.
I'm with you on that, dude. I agree.
All right, Grifka, before we take our break here, what I wanted to do was something fun. So I'm getting up from the Okrie Podcast studios here, and I'm walking over to, I got this board, Grifka, that I've been doing this year. It's one of my magnet boards, of course, and I was like, let me try to track things this year, like somewhat like a GM. I'm doing injuries, I'm doing adds and drops, I've got a practice squad board, I've got my starting offense and defense where I've been pulling people off and on all year depending on who's in, who's out. And like, I'm here to tell you, Grifka, I'm exhausted. It's a lot of work to be trying to keep up with all these different things that go on all year. I mean, I can't keep up with it all, to be honest. But what I thought I'd do is rumble through some of these names and like names that you'll have funny takes on, guys you never even remember were on the team, some of the ridiculous amount of injuries that we've suffered this year, and kind of walk it through. So you ready to do this?
Yes. Let's knock this out, because this sounds like this might take like 3 shows.
No, we're gonna rumble through it quick. So like right off in the beginning of the season, Grifka, a couple offensive players opted out. Geronimo Allison and Bodine, offensive linemen. So those guys haven't played. You want to hear the offensive cuts that we've made this year, Grifka? Hear some of these great names. I mean, I can't even give you the first name on some of these guys.
Okay, yeah, let's do this. This is going to be good.
We got Jonathan Williams, Isaac Nada, Marvin Hall, Bo Benchwell, Kenny Wiggins, Nick Bodden. We got Lacey, Wes Hills, the wonderful side, the beautiful golf course named Wes Hills. We got Huntley, the 5th round draft pick, Dawkins at running back, ya boy, Ty Johnson, Bo Scarborough, my boy, Travis Fulgham, my guy, went to star over there in Philly for 2 weeks. Garnett, the offensive lineman, interior guy that we picked up. Luke Sellers, the fullback. He gone. We got some guy, I can't even read my own writing. It's some offensive lineman. I don't even know. Starts with BN. I don't even know the rest. We got Davis. Looks like he's some receiver of some sort. And Sokol, the backup, no-name tight end. What do you think about that, Grifka? Those are the offensive cuts that I was able to track this year to some degree.
Well, like you said, Fulgham, he was like hot for 2 weeks, and everybody's like, "Why did we cut this guy? What happened?" And still, nothing. That's the one that blew up on Twitter when he had like a great week and then a decent week, and people are like, "We could really use him." Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Grifka, this is where you're supposed to go on for 10 minutes about your boy Ty Johnson that's scoring 100 yards and touchdowns over there with the New York Football Jets.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's going to be like the new Emerson Boozer there. Wait, that's from the 60s. That's even way before me.
Grifka, I'm too far away to the bell right now. Don't be naming people off from back in the day when I can't bell you.
And I go, what, Curtis Martin?
All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. It's like you said, this could take a while. So defensively, John Atkins, the defensive tackle, opted out of the season. You want to hear some of the cuts that I tracked? I'm sure there's many more than this that weren't even worth putting on a magnet. You want to hear these?
I'm sure you're going to name these, and people are going to listen to this and go, if we had that guy, if we still had that guy. But, okay, go ahead.
What do you mean, like D-Virgin? Win some defensive end that never played? How about Wilkins, Huggins, Sayapolu, Clark, Jerron Curse cut this week? Martin, a defensive end that I never heard of, didn't do anything. A guy named Mack, I don't know who that was. Christian Sam, the linebacker that never got a chance here. Dinson, looks like a corner, never heard of him. Elijah Lee, and some guy, one of the many Joneses that played on this football team. I think that was that corner that we picked up when we had nobody that played and then was gone a week later working at the bowling alley. Like, Grifka, that's the defensive names. This is the defensive IR right now. Cornell, the rookie we took in the 6th round. Deshaun Hand, McCray, the corner special team stud. Shelton, Flowers has been on IR. Trufant, Okuda. Those are just some of the names where I was pulling off our starting list, putting over there in the old IR spot. I mean, game day and actives just for recent that I have up here. Stenberg, Jamie Collins making $10 billion. David Blau, usually inactive. Kenny Galladay, Frank Ragnow, our beast of a center's inactive these days. Crosby, our right tackle, he's not playing. I mean, it's just a mash unit, man. It's embarrassing. Like, is there anybody worth any substance that I've mostly named, or the guys I did know are the guys that should be making plays, and they've either been hurt all year or never show up to play on Sundays? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, all those cuts, I'm not one of those guys, like, if we still had them, like I said, those guys are all cannon fodder anyways, and it doesn't matter. But
freaking tackling dummies. Like, how are those guys even on our team? Like those are like 15 names that I actually made a magnet for and put either on the practice squad or on our starting team for a week or two, and then had to pull off because the Detroit Lions cut those bums. They you don't even know who half those guys are. We talk about them twice a
Yeah, it's
week.
bad when you said Jones. You go Jones. Here's another Jones. That's like, I don't say it's a made up name, like some guy like signed into a hotel, wanting a fake name. Yeah, I'm Fred Jones. Okay.
Right. Listen to the cannon fodder on our practice squad. This is the last time I updated it, which again I tried to keep up and then I just gave up. Some guy named Brown, a center, Jarrell Adams, tight end, who I actually liked in the draft years ago. Victor Bolden's been on the practice squad time and time again. Skipper, the offensive tackle that we've had here for about 3-4 years that can't play. Kennedy, a little white receiver that'll never do anything in the NFL. Martin, an interior lineman / center that will never do anything to help us. Who else is on here? Jordan Scarlett, who they picked up recently, running back. I actually like him. And Tayomu, I think is how you pronounce it, the quarterback that played, where was he? He played not at Utah. Maybe he was, I can't remember. I liked him in college and thought he was a deep flyer as a quarterback. We got a long snapper named Wordle who might actually be the replacement for Muehlbach. Sipos, I think they just got rid of. Punter they've kept around all year. Brian, I think it's Price. Is it Brian Price first name? He's a nasty safety. I actually like some of his physical traits. Tremaine Brock, who we just brought up this past week, came from the bowling alley to play corner and got lit up this week. Anthony Pittman from Oakland University or something that they've kept around, who we all know is never going to make an impact on an NFL team legitimately. Jordan Elliott from Notre Dame, who I like as a safety prospect as well. And then that kid Myers that just got destroyed by Derrick Henry. I mean, there's 2 or 3 prospects I like on our whole practice squad, and they're never going to make a dent. I mean, that's the Detroit Lions team this year, Grifka. All those names came through the doors and either played a game or were brought up or were signed. For what? Nothing. We got nothing out of any of those people I named, barely whatsoever.
You brought up that Myers name again. I just thought of something when you mentioned it. Yeah, he was on a pro squad and stuff, but is that something, like if you're his parents, you're like, yeah, that's my son. Didn't your son get trucked by Derrick Henry? Well, a lot of people get trucked by Derrick Henry. No, man, he pushed him out of the stadium truck, man. Not ran over him, but
yeah.
Is that something you're like, yeah, that's my boy? No, your boy got trucked, man. Why don't you just be quiet there?
It's definitely, you probably would have just been better collecting your couple thousand on the practice squad and sitting up in the suite eating chicken wings like Mike Williams used to, rather than getting that done to you, getting a Sunday check when that happened to you. That's for sure. I thought you were going to bring up a cheap plug, Grifka, which is that I am going to bless you. I'm going to make your dreams come true this Thursday on the Believe in Lions podcast with Benny Blades, where the only thing Benny Blades wanted to talk about in that Titans game was our guy Myers getting put in the ground by Derrick Henry. He absolutely loved that. But he didn't love it because he said there ain't no way somebody's doing that to him ever. But Grifka, you're going to be on this Thursday. I know you, Benny Blades, one of your favorites. You're going to talk to him. I'm going to give you carte blanche, ask him questions. We might even just have you on the whole show, and you can kind of just roll with the punches and hang with me and Benny and talk football all show. I mean, is that going to be something else or what? I think everybody listening to the Koolaid cast needs to tune into that, not only every week because Benny Blades is incredible, but this Thursday to hear Grifka talk to one of his boyhood heroes.
I am so looking forward to this. I know Christmas just happened, but I don't think I'm going to sleep the night before of the recording. So I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah, that's going to be incredible. But Benny was not so fun of Myers. So that's what I got, Grifka. I mean, I'm looking at my starting board, and I have to look at linebackers named Reeves Maben, Ragland, Tavai, Christian Jones, and Jared Davis. Of course, I tried to hang in there and promote a lot of these guys or hope they were going to be good. I said on Twitter recently that they all got to go. All of them. They all got to go. It's been just an abomination this whole year. I mean, our corners, we're starting every week if we're lucky. Darryl Roberts and Mike Ford have to play. I mean, that's an absolutely, there's no other NFL team that has to do that. I mean, how many times is my guy Duron Harmon going to get roasted on the back end? It's embarrassing. I mean, John Pennicini, a big bowling ball interior player, has been one of the best players on our whole football team, and that tells you a whole lot right there. And then, gosh, on offense, man, I feel like Ibushi is just a joke. Joe Dahl, what's he playing center now for Frank Ragnow? We got Cephas and Mohamed Sanu out playing wide receiver for our team. Like, gosh, just frustrating. Look at that board and just see all these names that, like, you either hoped would be good, or all those cuts I named off are like, what are we even wasting the ink and the pen to sign these people? Like, what are they doing that warranted them having a roster spot when all these other teams have all these studs up and down the roster?
Yeah, that's I don't want to say it's a who's who. That's a nobody's nobody list right there. Just
Exactly.
I mean, you look at it, it's like, were they even good in college?
Nope.
You know, it's like, well, you think, were they even good in college? You know?
Nope. So. Nope. Easy answer on that. None of those guys were good in college. Me and you could draft better teams and bring in better free agents than any of those guys, basically, that I mentioned. Gosh, just embarrassing. So it's been crazy. Like, the life of a GM, like, just the cuts, the injuries, the people in and out every week, the moving around the roster. That's why I love doing them on the magnets, though, because it makes it so easy to kind of, like, every week, literally before the game, I'll, like, get the inactives and I'll take all these players off. Okay, this guy's out, he's out. I'll take all the other magnets, try to start moving them around. Okay, I guess this guy's going to play DN now. I guess you got to move this guy to outside corner instead of backup slot corner. You know what I mean? Like, you're just moving around all these chess pieces, and then you're looking at it going, we can't win with this. Like, this isn't a winning team. This isn't winning football. This is just a mash unit of not only injuries. Anybody that's worth a damn's been out this year, and then anybody that's either been signed or been backup depth is just, as you say. I mean, what do you call them here on the show, Grisky?
Oh, they are camp fodder, baby.
Is it camp fodder? I thought it was cannon fodder.
Oh, it's either one. I think camp fodder's preseason, and then, you know, during the season they just become cannon fodder since camp's over.
What about when you just call grown men that make millions of dollars tackling dummies? That always makes me laugh.
Oh, and they're just yeah, or cardboard cutouts or garbage cans or something. Yeah, okay.
Grifka, we got to take our break. I already did kind of a promo, but they're going to hear a little bit about Believe in Lions with Benny Blades, and then we hope that everybody will tune in this Thursday when we're not sure how we're going to run it yet. We might give you your own segment where you can just fire stuff at Benny Blades. We might start up the show with you, me, and Benny talking, and you just roll with the punches and ask him stuff throughout the show. I mean, I might have to let Benny know that you've called him out a couple times here on this show. We'll see how he reacts to that. That should be fun. But everybody, take a quick listen to this promo. And we come back. I got to talk to Grifka about this new year, new team, how the Detroit Lions going to get this all figured out, when it's going to happen, and how. So I know you guys want to hear what Grifka's got to say about this. It's going to be great. So everybody, we'll be right back. What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Derek Oakrey of the Detroit Koolaid Cast, and this is normally where I tell you about some of our great sponsors. But today, I want to tell you about my other Lions podcast. It's called Believe in Lions, and that's spelled BLEAV on the Believe Podcasting Network with both myself and Lions legendary safety Benny Blades. Yeah, you know who he is, the hard-hitting safety Benny Blades. Played for the Lions. He also played for the U. You know what it is, the University of Miami, those Miami Hurricanes. He mentions it multiple times in the show. Benny loves to talk about his Hurricanes, his Lions, and I love to play this soundbite on the show. We have a ton of fun on that show. We laugh, we joke, we talk Lions. Like I said, he brings up the Hurricanes. I talk about my Michigan Wolverines. It's a really fun show. Benny loves the Lions. He tells great stories from his playing days, as well as we're just rooting on this team. We BLEAV in the Lions. So please go ahead, find it on your favorite podcast platform. Hit that subscribe button and check it out. Share it with a friend. We really appreciate it. So check out Believe BLEAVN Lions with myself and Benny Blades. Thank you guys so much. Detroit Kool-Aid drinkers are back from the break. Really appreciate you listening to that sponsorship about Believe in Lions. Fun show due on Thursday. First year with Benny Blades. We'll see where it goes. Me and him seem to have fun, but you just never know what might happen. But hopefully we'll be doing that quite a while until the Lions get stuff headed back in the right direction. Benny Blades loves the Lions. He picks them to win every week. He tells great stories. He makes me laugh. And he's got one of the better football mentalities that you'll ever hear, because every time he starts talking about how you got to be tough and how you got to tackle and how you got to be in the locker room, it's just incredible. The Lions need a lot more of that on their current team. There's no doubt about it. But Grifka will have you on there Thursday. Everybody can check that out on their favorite podcast platform on Thursday mornings. That's BLEAV and Lions with myself and Benny Blades. But Grifka, I want to know from you. People will be hearing this show on Wednesday, so it won't be the new year yet. By the time they hear our Friday show, we'll be ringing in 2021. Everybody will be glad that 2020 is done and gone. But like the Lions, I mean, this has been another ridiculously tough season. I remember you asking me early in the year, some guy predicted 6 wins or less or whatever, and I laughed it out of the building. I went on some big tirade. Here we are again, 5 wins. I don't see it really getting better, but, we've had injuries up and down. The coaches are gone. The GM's gone. Everybody, as I just explained, looking at our roster, saying, man, there's only a few pieces there on the offensive side of the ball and 1 or 2 on defense that are worth keeping around. But it is an exciting time, because in the next, I'd say 3 to 5 weeks, we're going to hire a brand new general manager of the Detroit Lions, new ideas, new vision for the team. He's then going to hire a head coach that he believes in that can come in here, get this team turned around, probably a whole new offensive and defensive schemes, coaches. Hope will be abound. And, that's going to be something to be excited about, especially heading into the draft, where it's going to be top draft pick again, new regime. How do you see this all going down? When do you see this getting the GM set? Are you going to be fired up when this new breath of fresh air is put into this team, even though it's not a quick fix?
Yeah, like you said, probably I think the announcement's probably going to come for the GM shortly before the Super Bowl. I don't think they want to wait that long till after the Super Bowl to do something like that. They want to be able to get that announcement out. I don't want to say get their little bit of fanfare or whatever. And, they're not looking to take anything away, but they want to have the GM in place before that. So the GM can come in and say if their team's still in the playoffs, that they have to do the interviewing for. He can kind of pinpoint, say, I would really like this guy. I would really like this guy. And, they're still coaching. That way they can kind of put their list together at that point. So then depending on who they're interested in coaching is obviously going to be, if it's somebody in the playoffs, somebody in the Super Bowl, depending on what it is, shortly thereafter, the coach will be named. At that point, obviously they're going to be on the same page. And like you said, this is not going to be a quick turnaround. I mean, you went through it. I've seen, I've liked your tweets about who we should keep. We mentioned it here on the show, who we're looking to keep. And that's just out of 55 guys or 52 guys that are eligible to play. I mean, there's you have a total of 6. I mean, that's pretty bad. So am I going to be excited with somebody new? We mentioned the guys that I would like. I know we both differed on Rick Smith, but we both really like Thomas Dimitroff. If Thomas Dimitroff is the guy they choose, I know there were some rumors going on late last week that he was the guy. And, now it's just people are like, well, Louis Riddick, Monday Night Football's over, interview Louis Riddick. It's just or give it to Louis Riddick. But it's still, I think Thomas Dimitroff, if he came in, I would be ecstatic with that simply for the reasons I explained to you. But he's one of those guys. I think he's really good at picking out talent. He's loosely off the Bill Belichick tree when they were in Cleveland together. I mean, he was just, at that point, just kind of breaking down film. If you've ever seen the ESPN 30 for 30 thing, he was breaking down film more so, which is really, getting cutting your teeth on how to judge talent. So I would really like him. Once again, Rick Smith would be the other guy that I would really like. But getting the coach in here shortly, getting on the same page, really breaking down who they can keep. I'm reading stuff like, the next coach that comes in is really going to be able to turn Tavai around, which I don't know what guy, whoever said that, what they were thinking or smoking, because that's not going to happen in a million years. They're going to brush him right out the door along with the rest of the linebacking crew.
Grifka,
So
didn't you see
it's going to be a bit. Yeah.
Didn't you see Tavai make 1 or 2 plays this past week? I mean, he's coming into his own now. I mean, this guy that we've waited on, we've said maybe, and then we know he can't play. He made like 1 play. I saw people on Twitter like saying, "Oh, people say Jelani Tavai can't be good." I'm like, he can't. He fell into a couple plays. Congratulations. Like, he played 15 other games where I didn't notice the guy, or I did notice him, and that wasn't good either. Oh, gosh.
The funny thing was, like, the back-to-back plays in open field where Leonard Fournette juked him. Now, Leonard Fournette, the guy's more of a bruiser. I mean, he's not going to juke too many people, but he broke Jelani Tavai's ankles on back-to-back plays.
Oh, terrible.
I mean, that's like, come on, man.
Grifka, let me ask you this. What about Urban Meyer?
No.
Why?
No. And if it's one of those things where he's like, college, this is all the stress, it's making me, sick, giving me headaches, chance of heart attack. Dude's going to have to come to the Lions and deal with this. I mean, where people are just salivating, just waiting, just jonesing for a winning team.
But he's a winner,
Ohio State.
Grifka.
You get your pick of you're like Alabama, you're Clemson. You get the pick of the litter every year. I mean, pro is different. You gotta build more stuff. You just can't, I'm just going to go walk into, so-and-so's home. It's like, hey, why don't you sign with the Lions? Oh, okay, no problem. And like, he's out there, getting Patty Mahomes and, out there getting, I don't know, just Stephon Diggs or whatever, and like all.
But he won. He won at Bowling Green.
Come and sign with the Lions.
He won at Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, Ohio State. Like, don't we want a winner in here? Like, even my thing with Urban Meyer is like, I don't want him really either, but I do want somebody that has a track record of winning or that type of mentality. And the problem is, like, even if he comes in here and turns everything around and gets his quarterback and wins games, like, he's in it for what? 3 to 4 years maybe, and then he's going to be out for whatever reason he's going to come up with this time. So we that's why I'm leaning towards Saleh, because I feel like he's a guy that if he gets it right and he is good, you could have him for that decade plus, which is really what we need. I think we don't need a guy to come in and just flip everything upside down and then get burnt out, or like you said, have all these other factors come into play. It's like, I don't know. We do want to win those, so I knew you'd probably be negative on that. So what is your perfect combo right now? We're sitting in late December. Dimitroff and Saleh.
Yeah, that's who I would have to go with. He had a defensive-minded coach down in Atlanta, and I think that's what he believes is kind of like. Sorry, it kind of goes back to Bill Belichick thinking that defense wins, even though Belichick had Tom Brady, obviously, and we all seen what that happens. But I think that's what they're going to go with, defensive-minded people. If it's Dimitroff, I don't think he's going to go take an offensive-minded coach. So that's who I'd be looking like right there. I mean, we all saw what Saleh did with, Kyler Murray was having a good year, and he shut him down, last weekend. Yeah, it's one game, but still, I mean, he turned that San Francisco defense around. It's more like San Francisco's offense this year that kind of sucks, more so than that defense.
So let me ask you this. What if Dimitroff, Louis Riddick, whoever it may be, your boy Rick Smith, what if all three of them, were in consideration, but they were all like in lockstep that, you can win with Matt Stafford, like he's still only 32. We'll build around him. We'll extend him here in a couple years if he plays good football. Keep him for another 3-4 years. He's a Lion for life. He's the guy. He's our quarterback. We love him. He's the guy. Like, is that a deal breaker for you, or are you just like, all right, cool, these guys know, we'll roll with that. We'll roll with another 5 years of Matt Stafford at the helm?
At that point, I would be okay with it, and I would be okay to roll with it if that's what they believe. But I don't think that'll happen. I think somebody's going to want whoever comes in, they're going to want something fresh. They might draft a quarterback of the future and have him sit behind Stafford for a year or so, but they're going to want to hitch their wagon to somebody new. And that's just how I feel.
Here's the thing, though. Louis Riddick already came out on TV and said that he loves Matt Stafford. He's not the problem. You just build around him. I think I put on there, I'd heard the quote. He literally said on TV with a straight face that we have 2 good running backs. I was like, we do? Who? Because like I've come on the show and said how much I like Adrian Peterson when he was good, when he was playing good, but like he's no world beater. And like I had people come to huge defense of Kerryon Johnson. They wanted Kerryon Johnson to tweet back at me and blow me up or something. Little do they know Kerryon Johnson's too busy playing video games and hanging out with his hot yet probably annoying girlfriend to get back at us or pay any attention to anything or I don't know, look at his playbook. One guy tried to tell me he's the best pass blocking guy in the league, and I'm like, yeah, we took him in the second round. Like that's like taking a fullback in round 3 or 4 and saying, man, he's the best though. It's like, yeah, but it just doesn't make any sense. It's just ridiculous.
That's great. That's great.
He's like, he's just incredible.
We got the best third down back in the second round.
I'm like,
that's
so
not what your second round pick's supposed to do.
I'm like, so for 5 to 7 plays a game, he's great in pass pro. Wow. As Grifka would say, freaking congratulations. I'm really impressed by that. Not at all. So this is
that's definitely something I would say.
So this is my thing. Like, that's a deal breaker for me, and here's why. Not because Matt Stafford can't play the game or that he can't go somewhere else and be good. It's just we can't go status quo anymore. We know that hasn't worked. No GM is going to come in here and keep Stafford, fix everything up perfectly, and in 2 to 3 years, we're going to then win with a 35, 36-year-old Matt Stafford? No. Like, and your whole thing, draft a guy and then let him play in a year or so. Grifka, when does a rookie come and hang out for a year or so? Like, very, very, very rarely. Just that guy up in Green Bay because the smug Aaron Rodgers decided to play football again and annoy everybody in the NFL. But other than that, you get drafted, you might hang out for a little bit, 3 games, 6 games, up to the trade deadline. You're not sitting for a year plus in 2020. That just doesn't happen, and it's not even smart to do with the way the contract's set up and all the other factors. So my whole thing, and I thought we were on the same page, that the best thing to do right now is to just get a dynamic new GM, a coach that isn't, this bland, ho-hum, never say anything in the media, no excitement on the sideline, no dynamic play calls either on offense and defense. Get a guy that's got all that juice and that can work well together and just rip the Band-Aid off. Just trade Stafford for whatever you can get for him, draft an exciting quarterback, put some skilled players around him, whether offense and defense, and let's have a whole new football environment here. I don't want same old. I don't want to be talking to you next fall heading to training camp trying to put together why it's going to all work this time with number 9 and the same cast of characters. Like, I don't think we can get away with that. This is the time to start it all over.
Yeah, like I said, I would just cut him and eat it. And I think the new coach and GM, they're going to have a few more years to try to build something. So they're going to have a little more rope to play with. So that's why I said just eat it. And I know it's going to be a big hit on the salary cap, to do that next year based on, the dead money. But if the new GM wants to come in and say, yeah, we can win with him, we like him, this is the guy we're going to go with, I mean, I'll put my faith in that then. I mean, I will. I mean, I know what Stafford is.
Me.
I mean, he's not coming in saying we're going to win.
Sounds
Ryan
like me.
Fitzpatrick.
Sounds like something I would say, which you normally say on the show. When I get in a big rant and rave and get on a negative streak, you always say, oh, it sounds like me. But, like, you sound like me, just going along with the same old, what everybody says. And, like, this is our chance to not do the same old, to not just go along with, well, it hasn't worked for 10 to 12 years, but this year it's going to work. Why? It hasn't. It's got us nothing except a couple playoff appearances. That's not only is, in the words of Bob Quinn, is that not good enough? I'm sick of it. Let's just go in a whole new direction and get everybody fired up about this team. Could you imagine if they got a young dynamic quarterback, a speed demon and like Rondale Moore, a nasty linebacker, and then maybe like a defensive end that got a bunch of sacks next year with some of our other players? Like, that would be stuff to hang our hat on for the next who knows how many years, rather than just going through the motions again. Gosh, I'm like ready to just change everything. But I know it's probably not going to happen, but I feel like if you don't do it, you're just costing yourself. It's like when Bob Quinn came in and kept Caldwell. It was like you just went halfway in the water. Like, just get on the highest diving board right now with no life jacket and just jump off into the ocean and see what happens. Like, either you're going to make it or Jaws is going to get you, one of the two. You know what I mean? That's what I want the Lions to do right now.
Okay. Like I said, I would cut Stafford, not cut. I'd get rid of him, do what I can to get rid of him, and eat it. But if the GM came in and said we're gonna keep him and go with it, okay. I know me and you've been switching positions lately. It's so strange.
Oh my goodness, unbelievable stuff, man. I think there might be a conspiracy with all that. There might be something going on here on the Detroit Koolaid cast where you're trying to be me and I'm trying to be you, or I got so frustrated with this team I became you and you're trying to finally be positive for once because that's how I always ran it. I don't know what the hell is going on right now. It's craziness. Something weird going on.
Yeah.
But like I say, I bet everybody when I dropped the old hot take, was feeling like this. I know none of you guys want to hear it. I know you want me to come on here every week and say Matt Stafford's the greatest quarterback of all time. He can do no wrong. Everybody else is the absolute issue. He's oblivious to pain, but couldn't do it. I had to entertain you with that hot take. Griff, could we walk through a bunch of no-names that were on the Detroit Lions between August and now? And then you spun a little positivity at the end, and I shook everybody up about how we just need to rip this Band-Aid off and get this straight. So, I mean, Grifka, there's only one thing left to do here on the show. I mean, that's simply this. Grifka, do you have anything else for the people?
Nope.
Thought about it. He was pondering it, but nothing. Everybody, thank you so much for drinking that Detroit Kool-Aid. A bunch of fun on the show. I know you'll have some reactions to what was said today. We appreciate you listening. We try to have fun. We try to talk football, and it's been another tough season. There's no doubt about it, but we'll come in Friday. Griffith's going to have some good topics. I'm going to have some other strong opinions, talk about the Vikings, talk about we just got a lot on the docket for Friday, so please check out that show. Thank you so much for listening. We'll take care. We'll see you then. Everybody, we're out.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.